Across Trinidad and Tobago, we've been seeing the extensive rainfall across broad areas, and obviously that's been leading to the rivers being flooded. And right now we are at a red level. That basically means what you've heard from the ODPM is that you should basically be expecting these river conditions to exist and continue as we go through the next few days. Now the main rivers are at threshold, or some of them have already overspilled. Rivers will likely remain elevated over the next several days. And the main areas that we have been seeing, obviously around the Kapara River, along the Caroni River as well, down towards Pina, there have also been areas of flooded areas down that side. And this is where we tend to see the very high risk of flooding as you go through. So be mindful of where you are on this map. And as I said, even in those areas which do not necessarily flood because of the waterlogged conditions, as well as the high river levels and the elevated river levels, we could be seeing some of that spilling over into areas that don't normally flood. So obviously for those homes which are built on floodplains, even if you're outside of the floodplain, be mindful about that as you go through not only Saturday, but all the way through until next week. Now at a red level, it means that you should take shelter or evacuate if you have to do so. And obviously it's a very high risk to not only life, but also property as well. So be mindful as you go through the next few days. Now the adverse weather alert remains at an orange level. The ITCZ in tropical convergence zone remains active over Trinidad and Tobago. So the likelihood of a flash flooding, gusty winds and landslides or landslips still exists, especially in those heavier showers. Now in terms of the rainfall, we've been seeing quite a bit of it across Piarco. In fact, just in the 6 hours, they got 70 millimeters in places. And in El Raposo, which is towards the east of the island, they got 84 millimeters recorded in just 3 hours. And the total now is just about 260 millimeters. And for the month of October, we normally just get about 205. So we've gone well past the monthly total in terms of rainfall in just 3 days. And unfortunately, more rainfall is likely. Now, the main reason we've talked about the active ITCZ, but it is getting some of the help from some upper level conditions. The upper level flow is basically diffluent and is continuing to flow across the country. And this will be unfortunately, this will be the continuation as we go through Saturday and Sunday. So for tonight, then, continuing to see broad areas with long spells of rain as well as showers. Some of those showers turning heavy and thundery for Tobago, especially. So you could be seeing possibility of landslips around Tobago. But for Trinidad, this is where we'll see the bulk of the riverine flooding as we go not only overnight, but continuing through Saturday morning. And you can see here, once we do get the daytime heating going, the likelihood of us seeing those heavier showers from about 9 or 10 a.m. that will continue all the way until about 4 p.m. Even though the daytime heating will lose its effect as you get towards the evening, the possibility of those spells of rain continuing into the evening and overnight through Saturday and then into Sunday, and it obviously starts again with the cycle on a Sunday morning. So obviously take the necessary precautions, and if you have to take shelter as we go through the next few days. Temperature wise, it will feel quite comfortable, 29 degrees Celsius in Trinidad, 28 in Tobago, and through Sunday very little set to change. A lot of the rain will continue all the way until Monday. We could be seeing some relief by the time we get to Tuesday, but bearing in mind that the riverine alert will remain all the way through until next week, Friday. So obviously bear that in mind. Now for fisherfolk and mariners, those heavy downpours could cause some sea spray as well as whitecapping activity, but generally the seas are at 1.5 to 2 meters as you go through Saturday and the Sunday, and those winds will actually shift from the east-southeast to possibly more southerly as you go through Sunday. So we could be seeing a lot more of those southerly winds pushing through the Gulf of Paris. Be mindful of that as you go through the end of the weekend. Now the hurricane season continues, but we haven't had any systems of late, and in fact we're not likely to see any over the next few days. We have unfavorable conditions at the top of the atmosphere. We have the upper level westerlies showing off the tops of the tropical waves. We also have a lot of dusty Saharan air mixing in there as well. So that's good news in that we're not expected to see any tropical cyclones developing. But unfortunately for the southeastern corner of the Caribbean, the rains will continue under that diffluent flow as well as that upper level trough as we continue through Saturday. So for the Greater Antilles, then, the sunshine continues all the way through your weekend. In fact, most of the sunshine will be towards the north of the island, especially around the Leeward Islands. But obviously for the windwards, we will continue to see all of that rainfall as we go through not only Saturday, but more so for Sunday as well. We could be seeing a low-level pulse pushing through towards the end of the weekend, which could also add a bit more rainfall as we go towards Sunday and into Monday. So take care and obviously take necessary precautions as you go about your business.